investing in like unusual other interesting mentors, coaches, and of course, learning by doing. Experience is invaluable. You can't just consume content.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So tell us when what are the signs of a good business to buy, and what type of business we have to be more careful if we are thinking to acquire them. I give an
Yep, yep,
example. Give an example. I used to have I own several businesses, but one of the business that I owned once it was a restaurant. And long story short, I lost over 200,000 pounds and 2 years of my life in that thing. It was a lot of operation,
yes,
and I didn't have enough experience. And I thought I was so passionate about food, but I realized that I'm only passionate because I want to eat it, not cook it.
yes,
So,
yes,
so at the end of the day, the whole thing, the restaurant business itself could be very profitable. I don't deny that, but it's a business that requires a lot
yes,
of operation, food costs, team management, compared with other businesses. For example, I had property business, I have education businesses, I have an event
yes,
uh, business, and I mean, those businesses have way less operation than what a restaurant, and also the ticket for sale is higher. So when I find with clients, they pay more
yes,
money. We have bigger profit margins. So when you go to a restaurant, how much you spend? $60, $100, and then you have 40% food costs. You have 20% operation. You have another extra cost and whatever, and then you're very
yes,
little um, per profit out of that bill. And on top of that, you need to meet
yes,
certain number to break even. And after is when you start to make actually profit because you have a fixed cost every time that you open the door, electricity,
yes,
rent, staff, products, and whatever. So, what are the
yes,
parameters that we should be looking in, or when do we know, oh, this business is great, I should buy it, and how we value those
yeah.
businesses?
So basically, one way how you can cheat every time before you talk to a business owner is just before you even have the conversation, just go to the official public registry in terms of tax and revenue. And there you can find, for example, you're in the UK, just go to company's house, and there you can find out, okay, who is the owner? Who is the director? What is the director's postal address? How much is the revenue? How much is the profit? What are the assets and liabilities? And you know all of that before you even spoke to him or her. Just be aware, you can, of course, adjust your profit if you're like a small company to become basically nothing because you don't want to pay tax. That is just
But
like worth to mention. So again, do just the basic due diligence. Like, are they even profitable on paper? And
But
many
would you
people that,
approach them? Would
for
you approach
example,
them? Would you approach them knowing that they're willing to sell the business, or you just approach them and say, "Hi guys, do you want to sell this business?" How
I
is
would do both. I would do both, but I wouldn't do it as direct as you said there. So it is quite common. For example, I used to have a number of real estate companies in the UK, and because those ownership addresses were directed to my own company, that meant that every month, usually many times per month, I got letters, physical letters soliciting like, would you like to sell your house? Would you like to sell your portfolio? So people are reaching out directly if you own stuff, real stuff that people want to buy. And in this case, it was a very profitable portfolio of multi-let units. And people just know, like, okay, he doesn't have one, but he's actually got a lot. Like in my case, we had like 80 plus keys in London. And people would like to buy that. Like, would you like to have an 80 key portfolio in London yourself, Harry?
yeah,
Yes,
I
no,
do.
maybe?
Yeah, this was one of the
Yeah,
businesses that I
probably,
have in
probably,
London, the
yeah. So,
multi-let. Yeah, the
yeah,
multi-let
exactly.
business. Yeah,
Exactly.
somebody
Yeah.
that
So
have
basically,
80
if you
multi-lets,
if
so big
yeah
volume. Yeah, yeah. This
yeah
is a big operation
yeah
going on
exactly.
with
So
80. So,
basically, you
mhm.
yeah exactly. So basically, with profitable assets in the background, you're more likely to be approached as the business owner. And that's exactly how I would also pick and choose. So I was reaching out to landlords directly, just like I now reach out to business owners directly. But I use some of my background in intelligence to find out a bit more. So, for example, if I got a target company, I try to find out, okay, who owns the company? Are they profitable? Okay, fine. I know who owns it. I know that it's profitable. It's on the right size. What else can I find out about the company? Can I talk to people who work in the company or customers? Now I talk about like a company where I got serious interest, and I have one of those as we speak, which has got like a good size of profit, very interesting, absolutely not for sale, but for the right kind of deal structure, it still might be up for sale. So I will reach out completely cold to the owner, but I'm slowly warming up the people around and finding out more. So when I eventually meet the main owner, I'll be in a position of strength in terms of information. That means that I am having the upper hand in terms of asking the right questions. And that ultimately will lead to that this person will probably think that actually I know what I talk about, which I actually do. And also because of my previous deal experience, he can see my track record that actually, okay, it makes sense. This individual can actually come up with this fantasy number of dollars. And all of a sudden now it might become quite interesting. Like, do I really want to grind and have this company for another 3, 4, 5 years? Or would I like to check out today with like a 30% of the upside instead of 100% after 5, 10 more years work? And
Mm.
uh, and also depending on the owner, you can be clever. For example, there's something called private equity, and they usually have like a fund and they got a life cycle of the fund. So in the beginning, they raise the funds, then they buy the companies, they grow the companies, and then it's time to sell the companies. Why? Because they have to return the money. So to know, for example, that this is owned by private equity company, they've had it for 7 years. That means that they're really going to sell it like immediately, even if it's not on the market yet. It's the perfect time to approach them. But the more you know about acquisitions, the better mentors you have, the better role models, and the more you learn, the better conversations you can have. And all of a sudden, when you do good deals, deals start to come to you. And that's a fantastic place to be. And someone called Daniel Priestley, who I highly recommend to have on your podcast, he's talked about key personal influence, like the people who are on top of the information food chain, really like the top of the pyramid. They usually get the best deals. They usually get the most value and most money for exactly the same amount of time. So the best MMA fighters will get a lot, and the people who are average will get very little, and the people who are poor fighters, they will get nothing. They will just get beaten. And it's the same in business. Like the top people, if you like to be part of that pack, you need to really invest in your own education, and deliver on your promises. That means you gain the trust of the whole market and things starts to come to you. I was in that position in terms of real estate in London. I had deals come to me all day long because of the credibility I've built with many thousands of people all across UK and globally. And now I've pivoted into buying companies. Again, I'm building the brand from ground up to create the same scenario over the next 2, 3 years where I will have a huge deal flow because of, I mean, you can already hear that I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
And I'm
100%.
literally just getting started. So yeah, I'm just getting started. So yeah, yeah. But the cool thing, you can't learn this in school. Even if I got like triple business degrees, that is not where I got most of this knowledge. It's not. It's from investing in like unusual other interesting mentors, coaches, and of course, learning by doing. Experience is invaluable. You can't just consume content.
Yeah. And then, Frederick, the what is the what type of business are you buy? Are you buying those businesses also in UK, or it doesn't matter which country?
Uh, I
But
would
the
like
law
to
change in
sorry,
different countries.
I know. Yeah, but that's a big change. I mean, many of my friends, including myself, I've left the UK like for tax reasons just the other year. And right now with the latest tax changes, I know so many of my richer friends are changing tax domicile. So they
A
live
lot of
somewhere
people
else
living in
because
Portugal,
it's
no? A lot of people from UK moved to
yeah,
Portugal for
well,
tax reasons, right?
yeah, and another flashy place,
I got a
Dubai
lot of friends
is
living
up there.
there.
Yeah. I mean, you got the language right as well. I mean, right? You know Portuguese and Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.